السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala has given in Islam to the people of Islam that was not given to the people of previous scriptures. We have been blessed with an Islam that is divinely protected, and the divine protection of Islam in an amazing manner gave protection to the people of Islam. To understand this, Nabi Isa alayhi salatu was salam, one part of his da'wah on his first coming, when Isa alayhi salatu was salam came, he was a Nabi of mercy. He did not come with the sword. And on his second coming, it will be Isa alayhi salam with the sword, and there will be no kindness, there will be no softness. It will be with the sword. He was a combination of mercy and the sword, but on two different occasions. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh said, if I see Isa alayhi salam, I will stand up, I will hug him. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, on that day when Isa alayhi salam comes, he will come with so much of awe. He said, you will not have the courage to stand up and run to him to hug him. He will be filled with that awe. But on that first occasion when Isa alayhi salam was here, all the children were just running to him. Combination of mercy and the sword, but on two different occasions. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala sent him, and he was a combination of mercy and the sword on the same occasion. Which is not something easy to understand. Where a person says, if you ask me to describe his face, I would be unable to give you details. He says, Wallah, I never looked at his face with an open eye. I had too much of fear for him, that awe. And that same individual, the child will come and jump on the back of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Combination of mercy and the sword. Isa alayhi salam was a combination of mercy and the sword. On two occasions, Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam on one. Isa alayhi salatu wasalam amongst his da'wah would say, وَمُبَشِّرًا بِرَسُولِي يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ اسْمُهُ أَحْمَدٍ. He would say to his people, which up till today in the Bible they got it, after so many years of changes. They could not change everything, but up till today they'll see something in the Bible where Jesus is saying that as long as I am amongst you, he cannot come. But when I will leave you, I will send him to you. I want to say certain things to you which you will not understand. He will explain it to you. Because his tongue will not be his tongue, it will be the tongue of the Almighty. What Quran mentions, in huwa illa wahyu yuha. Whatever now came from the tongue was a revelation in itself. Isa alayhi salatu wassalam would tell his people that what I am promising you, it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen now. He's going to bring it. That he, ismuhu Ahmad. 620 years after Nabi Isa alayhi salam was lifted, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave his da'wah. 620 years. When Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave his da'wah, there were definitely Christians in that era. They were very high-ranking Christians. They had studied, and they had studied a lot. From that time till today, the Bible has really gone through a lot of change. But before that also, the Christian religion in 620 years had changed from A to Z. That if the leader had to be brought in front, the Christian leader, you will find when they went to Abyssinia and they spoke, then the leaders looked at each other and they said, you know what he's saying sounds right. Jesus never said he's the Son of God. It's just we thought he said it. He never said it. The fact that they answered like that means even the religious scholars were completely lost. The religion of Isa alayhi salam was no longer his religion. From A it had gone to Z. And from there, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam invited them, let's take it back to 620 years. Isa alayhi salatu wasalam said, after me, he is coming, Ahmad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allah's Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came 620 years later. When he came, he said, after me, Isa alayhi salam is coming. Nabi Isa alayhi salam will definitely come again. It might be 1,400 years has already gone, maybe 1,500, maybe even after. When Nabi Isa alayhi salam will descend, how much of change will there be in the religion from the time Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam passed away till the time Isa alayhi salam will come down? When he will come down, it will be Fajr time. Iqama will already be given. A Jamaat will be in the Masjid of Damascus. The Imam is ready to go on the Musalla. They will hear the voice, the sound. They will look up. Isa alayhi salam will be coming down. The Imam will naturally pull back. A Nabi in our midst. How can a normal man, even if he's the Mahdi, but a normal individual, how can he be the Imam over a Nabi? Isa alayhi salam, when he will come, he will say, the Iqamah has already been given. It was given for you. You make the Salah. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, what will be the state of my ummah? Where a man from my ummah will be the Imam of a Nabi. When Isa alayhi salam will tell him, go front, it will be as though Isa alayhi salam is saying, because in the Salah you're going to read now, that Allahu Akbar that you making after 1,000, perhaps 500 years, is the exact Allahu Akbar that was made 1,500 years before. Your ruku is right, your sajda is right, your sana is right, your every dua is right. Otherwise he would have said, hold on, let me make the first salah. There's a few things you need to change. I will make salah, you look at it, what's wrong, you correct it. When you will put the Imam front, he will say, what a religion it is. His practical amal will be saying this, that the salah which your Nabi gave you after 1,500 years is the exact salah happening right now. In between that 1,500 years, do you think the devil is sleeping? Do you think the devil doesn't want to change? Forget salah, he wants to change the entire deen. But after 1,500, even salah, he will not manage to make a change. Even in salah. What a protected religion. But for that religion to be protected, Almighty Allah gave honor to the people of religion. That if someone has to protect it, it doesn't need anyone. فَأَتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَمْ يَحْتَسِبُوا. Almighty Allah says, there was the Jew tribe called Banu Nadir. They were in a protected area. They were leaders of them, poets, Ka'b bin Ashraf. He was so well protected. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to his Sahaba, the Ka'b has gone beyond the limits, who will now see to him? Ka'b bin Ashraf's foster brother is Muhammad bin Maslama. Muhammad bin Maslama, he feels that my brother, my foster brother has done this against the Nabi of Allah. How can I allow somebody else to take revenge? I'll take the revenge. He says, oh Nabi of Allah, what about me? Nabi Sallallahu never told him. He offered. In the ahadith kitabs, there's a whole incident of how he killed his foster brother. Ka'b bin Ashraf was protected. He was the first Jewish leader who was killed, assassinated. After that, all the Jews went into their forts. They never want to come out. They were so scared. Before Ka'b bin Ashraf was killed, they were all like, no one can touch us. Muhammad bin Maslama calls his own foster brother Abu Na'ila. They speak about it. How to win over Ka'b bin Ashraf. They say, let's go and talk to him. When they come there, they start speaking about, they say, after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has come to us, life has become very hard. We have fought against the Arabs. Now taxes, now prices are going up. We have no money. We need some help. It's a very long story. Ka'b bin Ashraf says, I knew you were going to get tired of him. I knew this day is going to come. He said, we need help. He says, I need some pawn. I'll give you wealth, but you have to leave something by me. The incident is very long. They say, we will give you weapons. So it made it so easy for them at night when they're now coming, they can come with weapons. When the guard is going to stop them, he's going to say, hold on. He said, no, we're bringing weapons. He said, okay, go through. Late at night, scholars write, weapons entered and the enemy could not stop it. In recent times when the War of Gaza is taking place, one question they're asking is, where did the weapons come? You'll say the weapons have entered for the last good couple of years. You allowed it to enter also. They allowed it to enter because they're controlling everything. Every border is being controlled. Weapons entered, they were blind from the weapons entering. They allowed it. They couldn't think what this weapon is going to do. Late at night, Ka'b bin Ashraf is well protected. He himself opens his door. Himself. He comes down. Even his wife says to him, I can smell blood. He said, where blood? So intelligent, but when Allah puts a cover, you don't see anything. He goes downstairs. He walks with them. Muhammad bin Maslama says, I have never smelled such perfume like today. What have you put on? Which perfume is this? He says, I married the best of the Arab woman. Her body is filled with perfume. It's in my hair now. Muhammad bin Maslama says, let me smell that hair. How do you smell hair? You put your nose towards the hair. He tells Abu Naila, smell this hair. What? Then he said, I need to smell it again. He says, here, he says, let me smell it properly. How you smell properly? He grabs hold of that lock, like how that sheep is put where you pull the head. He handed himself over. It was so easy. The sword was taken out, it was cut. Surrounded by his protectors, not one of them knew that the head of their master is gone. And they go away. When Allah Tabarak Ta'ala refers to it, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, فَأَتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَمْ يَحْتَسِبُوا. When Allah launched the attack, Allah came from directions they never ever thought. But who made the attack? Muhammad bin Maslama made it. When Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, who made it? Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, I made it. This protection of religion is the protection which Allah has given Islam. Islam makes its own revolutions. Own revolutions. But in that own revolution, Almighty Allah in kindness allows one man. That man, when he works, he won't even understand how his plan worked. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. An individual of people who fought against America in the Battle of Afghanistan, they're saying that we had with us, I think, 8 bullets. 8 bullets. And we are a group. And the enemy is shooting and their bullets. How many guns? How many bullets? He says, finally when the enemy ran away, he said, we could not understand what made them run. Number one. He said, when we went there to see, we found 9 of the American soldiers or the enemy soldiers dead. But we were convinced we only had 8 bullets. He says 8 bullets to hit on target itself is a miracle. But for 8 to kill 9, that is above a miracle. From our side, he says, we looked and there was 1 or 2 martyrs. So many bullets coming, 2 martyrs. 8 bullets, 9. He says, then we understood that we are not fighting this battle, it is Allah Tabarak Ta'ala fighting. He said it was just our hand being used. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ. In the revolution of Islam, and that revolution, because Isa alayhi salam, when he will come, he will say, you perform the salah. Islam is going to be protected till the ending. And Islam will make unique revolutions whenever the need for the revolution comes. Bada'a ghariba wa yarji'u ghariba. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam's beginning, one meaning of gharib is amazing how it started. Like you couldn't imagine, it just happened. Against every logic. Wa yarji'u, whenever it will make its returns, it will do the same. Whenever it will make it. 300 years after the demise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was the rise of a Fatimi Shia empire. They rose so fast that in the year 450, they even had control over the mimbar of Makkah Mukarramah. In the year 450 in Iraq, which was the capital of the Muslim world, they made every masjid in the capital give the adhan, and they changed the adhan. Hayya ala khayril amal, which was a Shia addition to the adhan. A Qadi was brought in front. Do you accept these changes? He refused. They took hooks in his mouth. Hooks were placed. And then he was lifted up with those hooks. You can understand the pain this individual goes through. He passed away while he was hanging. But after pain, they record his last words were, I thank Allah that during the good days He gave me a wonderful life. And during the difficult days He gave me martyrdom. That was his last recorded words. They changed the adhan. They thought religion is now completely finished. In Egypt they established Al-Azhar to propagate their notion of Islam. Capital. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala, one change. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi comes. He's sent into Egypt. One individual, he manages to win over the military. He manages to win over the people. In a land where the name Abu Bakr radiallahu anh could not be taken. A time came where every masjid on the four corners would have Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, Ali. The khutbah would have the names. In a place where hadith was banned. From that same land, the best of the scholars of ahadith were going to be produced. When someone would come later on to learn ahadith in the land of Egypt, he's sitting at the feet of the greatest scholar of hadith, Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani. Just around the corner is Allama Badruddin al-Aini. Both of them writing commentaries of the biggest kitab, Sahih al-Bukhari. When that person is sitting there, he'll say, what a land of Islam. And someone will say, if you were here about 150 years ago, just the narrating of one hadith was banned. He said, what happened? He said, as Allah mentioned, وَيَرْجِعُ غَرِيبًا. When Islam returns, it returns in an amazing manner. Against all logic, it just happens. Then came the time of the Tatars, Mongolians, Tatars. From the lands of Mongolia, as they descended on Islam, Maulana Abul Hasan Ali Nadwi rahimullah writes, that the attack on Islam, historians wrote in that time, Allama Ibn Kathir, that history had never seen such a brutal attack. The Mongolians never only conquered lands, they destroyed lands. I think the only other example is what we're seeing today. In the battles where bombs killed thousands. When the Mongolians came, those numbers are in history. That after leaving a city, over 120,000 people destroyed. Those numbers, when you look at it, you say, doesn't make sense. But the Mongolians had a thing. They wanted to kill for the ear. The more ears I can get on my necklace, the more happy. Some of those Mongolians would walk with a necklace which was running far behind them. Ear. From every one man they kill one ear. It was just a shock for them, kill. He says, at that time the world said, if someone says to you, the Tatars, the Mongolians have been defeated, you can believe everything but don't believe this. Undefeatable. But when Islam doesn't need soldiers. When Islam makes its revolution is وَيَرْجِعُ غَرِيبًا. When it makes its return is amazing. Return is amazing. They were defeated. But the return of Islam wasn't that. Maulana Abul Hasan Ali Nadwi rahimullah wrote so nicely. He said, I turned hundreds of pages of the books of history to find the names of those individuals who were responsible for the revolution after the Tatars. He says, I could only find about 2 names. He said, where were all those other people who made their place in this revolution? He says, then it gave me that understanding that Islam is the revolution. Islam made the revolution. It used and without even. It had people and without people. He says, how amazing was the sincerity of those who were used, that history never recorded their names. He says, perhaps some of them themselves never know they were going to be used. They made the effort. Some of those people in that revolution, we'll explain the revolution just now. But what happened is one prince, Mongolian prince is walking. This is recorded in history, one name. You got a Mongolian prince. He's out hunting. You get a sheikh walking through the lands. And mistakenly he comes in the path of the Mongolian prince. You come in the path, it means death. The prince calls him, are you not scared of me? Amazing Islam is. We are all scared of death. That's there. But Islam's miracle is where everyone besides a man of Islam, if they see the death of one, it causes the death of 10. One man dies will put 9 people in depression. But when a person is the man of Islam, one dies, it gives life to 10. One dies, it gives life to 10. You might wonder, the people of Gaza, how come they don't cry when their person passes away like how we cry? They will say, we already saw death. So now they will look up and they'll say, the Israelis are coming. They will be able to say this. What are they going to do? They'll kill us. They killed my brother already. They killed my father already. He's in Jannah. I'm only left. Let me kill me. Islam is the only one that if someone died, he gives life to the one after him. That one says, I'm ready to die. And when you're ready to die, you got the greatest life in the world. Because there's no fear. When the enemy comes and says, you know what I'll do to you? You say, the most you can do is kill me. I'm ready to die from long, kill me. So when the prince says to him, you know what I'll do to you? He say, what you going to do? Meaning what you did to everyone already. I'm only one extra. You can't kill them. You kill them, kill me. I'm waiting for so long, kill me. After that, there's no fear. When death comes in Islam, it gives life. Blood makes the gardens come alive. So he says, so then the prince said to him, who's better, me or you or my dog? So he looks at the prince and he says, it depends. To talk like this here to a man who was known for just chopping off necks, that iman. So what does it depend on? He said, I got something in my heart. If I have to die and I go with this thing in my heart, I'll be better than your dog. But if this thing comes out first and then I die, then your dog is better than me. Then the prince says, what's this thing you're talking about? He speaks about it. The prince is amazed, Iman. Then the prince says to him, at the moment, I can't really make decisions. But if ever I've lifted my position, you hear of me as a ruler, come back. The sheikh wasn't going to see the day before he passes away. He says to his son, that I have great hope this man will become a leader. If he becomes the leader, king of the Mongolians, a great portion of the Mongolians, go back to him. Lengthy incident, the boy one day manages to find this king. And then he reminds him of the meeting with his father. The king gets very shocked also, quiet also, thinking, well, my people accept. So he sends this boy away and he calls his first minister. Abul Hassan Ali Nadwi rahimahullah writes this. He says to the minister that there is something called Iman in Islam. I've been thinking about this, but I want to know your opinion. And the minister, after a few minutes of silence, says, O king, I have already accepted this religion. I have already accepted it. He gets shocked, without asking me. He says, if I ask you, you'll kill me. Sends him away. He calls another minister. He says, I want your opinion on it. Finally, he says, King, I could not tell you, I already accepted this religion. Maulana writes that, okay, the king's iman came because of the sheikh. Who brought iman to all those ministers? While in the palace of the king, something was happening that Islam made all of them its. Whether someone met them or no one met them, when the revolution of Islam is there, Islam makes its own revolution. At the present moment, in the last 100 days, if you have to read the reports of how many people are accepting Islam in the world. One person from England sent a report. He said, in our masjid, every day people are entering. He says, but from every 10 people accepting Islam, 9 out of 10, when I ask them, what has brought you to Islam? Instead of saying, I met someone who gave me dawah, they said, what's happening at the moment in Gaza has made me research what is Quran. He said, as soon as I open an English translation of the Quran, that Quran brought me here in front of you. No man was even involved. No man. When Islam makes its revolution, in an amazing way it will make. We are at the beginning of a revolution. We are at the beginning of a revolution. Islam is going to go up again. وَيَرْجِعُ غَرِيبًا. Amazing, it's going to go up. فَتُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَى. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, glad tidings then to those who could be part of this amazing work. Now how to be part of it? One is a man will be physically part of it. One is someone will be monetarily part of it. Someone will be just making dua for this revolution. Everyone have it in your mind that if the revolution is going to take place, and it's going to take place, and Islam again is going to come on that position where the whole world will only see the flag of Islam. At that time, what an honor it will be if me and you can say, I also had a share. That even if history books haven't got my name in it, but my share has been noticed by Allah, I also played my share. Allah will continue using people who history will not record at all, but they'll get their share. I will give you an example of how you people can play your share in South Africa. And in every country, the work of this revolution is different. But in South Africa, I will give one example to you. May Allah Tabarakala inspire all that you can hold on to this one, because what we have seen in the last few years is a little bit weakness in this aspect has crept in very badly. There's an incident mentioned where a king needed help from a certain sheikh. A dua, that's how you go to the sheikh. You say, please Hazrat, make dua for me. So the sheikh said, no problem, I'll make dua, inshallah, Allah will get your work done. But I want you to do something first. What you have to do is, when Eid comes, you the king, when Eid comes, you must come fetch me. So fetch you, no problem, I'll fetch you. He says, not normal fetching. When you come there, I will climb on your shoulders. And you will walk me to the Eidgah. Now for the king, that's very hard. Normally you say, my wife is on my head. Now you got your sheikh on the head. The king this is, but he needed his dua. Finally he agrees, it's one Eid, no problem. I'll take you there and I'll tell the people after that, like old man. So he brings on Eid day, he puts him on his shoulders and he brings him, he puts him. He said, I will sit on the main place, you will put me there, game over. Then you got your dua. So after a year or so, the king goes back to the sheikh. He says, your dua really worked, I got my work done. He says, but more amazing than that there, I have been informed by people that the madrasas are full. The masjids are full. Things are just happening at the moment. What happened in this last 1 year like? So the sheikh says that, when you carried me that day, hardly anyone in that town knew me also. I'm a sheikh in one village. Hardly, but everyone knows you. You are important. He says, as soon as they saw you carrying me, all those people asked is, who's that? And someone said, it's the sheikh. That's all. Which sheikh? No one knows which sheikh also. He said, every youngster who looked at that day became desirous of becoming a sheikh. He said, even the king honors the sheikh. Even the king honors the sheikh. He says, when you put me, you were not putting me on your shoulder, you were putting Islam. If today in South Africa, our influential people can again go a few steps back which we were, and again give respect to the ulama like how our fathers gave. Even if you don't know the alim, even if no one knows the alim, but if you're ready to put him back on your shoulder, your dua will come, your work will get done. But deen in your progenies will stay. Your every child will never say, you saw how my father told him off. Rather your son will say, my father used to respect the sheikh. This revolution is going to happen where madrasas are going to fill up. Me and you will not play a very big role in that because we don't have that ability to be in those lands. How much we can do, however, is we can just put the people of knowledge back where they deserve to be. They will have their faults, they always have their faults. Perhaps that sheikh had a lot of faults, but no one knows the sheikh. But you influential people, you everyone knows. You on the groups, you on the media, you got followers. The next time you think of criticizing an alim, understand it is not an alim you're criticizing, but you are putting a hammer into Islam. Your son will look at it and he will say, my father told them off. And that's the word which will remain in his heart, which means they nothing, which means to be an alim means nothing. Be ready to put the ulama back on the shoulder. And you will see, you will have a place in the revolution of Islam. As for the physical part of the day, Allah has not given us that opportunity still. But so much we can do. Man sa'ala Allah ash-shahadata bisidqin. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever will ask Allah for martyrdom, and he will really be sincere in this asking, Allah will make him reach the ranks of the martyrs, even if he has to pass away at home. Me and you, if we think about it, the last 20, 30 years, maybe this dua really left us. Where we stopped making dua, Allah give me martyrdom in your path. We have to start, because this revolution has started. Martyrs are going up to Almighty Allah in numbers we cannot imagine. On the other, if you don't make this dua, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and this is very scary, he said, مَنْ لَمْ يَغْزُو, the one who will never himself go out, he never went for the fight, for the battle, وَلَمْ يُحَدِّثْ بِهِ نَفْسَهُ, and neither did he ever speak to himself about it. We lived in that era, we never spoke about it. He said, مَاتَ عَلَى شُعْبَةٍ مِّن نِفَاقٍ, if he has to die, he'll die on a branch of hypocrisy. He will be used to attack Islam when Islam is coming up in the world. He will see it coming up, he won't be happy about it. He will be upset, it's called a hypocrite. Hypocrites saw Allah's Nabi's deen rising, everyone was happy, they were upset. To protect ourselves from hypocrisy during the revolution, we will give honor to the people of knowledge, and we will lift up our hands asking Almighty Allah for martyrdom. With these two amals, may Allah Tabarak Ta'ala allow it to be part and parcel of every one of us. Allah will take us to the ranks of the martyrs, and Allah will grant us a great share in the revolution of Islam. Wa sallallahu ala nabi al-kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.